Sovilo. Alright. Welcome back to the show. We're going to show you the way of the Sovilo rune. Salgil in Gothic. Sigil. That's interesting. In Old English means it was pronounced sigil. Yet another reason why it's everyone's favorite. You look there. Esoteric interpretation of the name, the Holy Solar Wheel. So this is like the most simplified version of the solar wheel, apparently. Ideographic interpretation, one part, that of the dynamic solar wheel, which developed with the form Celtic cross or the thunderbolt. Very interesting. It's also interesting, if you do a little numerology there, this is rune number 16, the 1 plus 6 is 7, and of course the sun is what brings us light. So, I often associate 7 with the concept of light. You go over to Theoria Apophasis' channel, he'll explain light to you in ways that I cannot. Anyway, yeah. Some commentary on the S rune is the archetypal sun and the light of that sun, symbolically expressed as the solar wheel, or wheel. The concept of the turning wheel, Old English spell, is central to the understanding of the rune. This is represented as the wheels of the solar wagon, radio. Greetings, David. Welcome. As well as the disk, which is borne by that cosmic vehicular force. This symbol complex is the center of the ancient Hyperborean sun cult, which was at its peak in the Bronze Age. The sun was also known by 2 special names in the north. These are reflected in Old Norse, sol, and the cult word suna, both feminine. In the... how do I do that one? Alvismal, stanza 16 of the Elder Edda. That's interesting, too. You have the 16th rune mentioned in stanza 16. Oh my god. It's almost like the Elder Edda knows what it's doing. It is called Sol among men and Suna among the gods. Ooh, okay. Sol represents the phenomenon, while Suna is the nomenon. I've never seen that word before. What is a nomenon? Guten Nacht, willkommen, wie bist du heute? Or, heute Nacht. Is it day where you are or night? Press 1 if the sun's out where you are. Or excuse me, if the soul is out. Do you have soul? The mystery of the sun is essentially a feminine one. The sun and solar power were considered feminine attributes by the ancient Germanic peoples. Sovilo is the magical will that is active throughout the multiverse. Within the individual, this will is expressed through the spiritual wheels, the chvel. This word is an exact cognate of the Sanskrit chakra. In this aspect, it is a counterforce to the power of cosmic ice. The S rune often has been connected to the power of the lightning bolt, and thus to the concepts embodied in Thurisas. Now that is an interesting connection there, because if the planet didn't have a star, then it would essentially just be a rock, and there would be no weather. Therefore, there would be no lightning. Sovilo is the eminent spiritual force that guides the Vitki through the paths of Yggdrasil. It is an aspect of the goal, and also the active, willed path towards that goal. The S rune may serve as a dynamic connection between heaven and earth, Asgard and Midgard. Sovilo is the rune of the Germanic code of Anna, a powerful path to ecstatic experience. In later times, this rune became known as the Victory Rune, Sieg Heil. Indeed, it is a potent, willed force. This can bring a great success and victory to an individual when properly applied. But the true Sigrun, victory rune, of the ancients was the T rune. Tia rune. Well, that's also interesting. In the Armanen system, The bind rune for, if I'm not mistaken, Svartalsheim is in fact Tia and Sige, which transliterate to this elder Futhark is Tivaz and Silvilo. So the T and the S. It'll always be S-T. Key words: solar wheel, magic, will, guide, golden path, success, honor. Silvilo. Now for the motherfucking stowed here. Squat, so that the calves and thighs are pressed together along their entire length, with the buttocks resting on the heels. Keep the torso vertical, with the arms along the sides of the thighs. Kind of like that guy. See that guy right there? You see this guy right there? Yeah, you go like that guy right there. Standing with the body in the form of the S rune. Angle the arms along the sides of the body, while the joints of the hips and knees form the S rune. Yes, sir. That's right. Raise them right hands, gentlemen. These stodher are reflected by an Old Norse term. Ooh, how do I pronounce that one? Nisol, Nisun, which describes the S rune. Nisun? Huh, that's weird. Okay. Magical working, strengthening of the psychic centers. Now, if you notice, it mentioned the word chakra there. So, considering another esoteric concept about the chakras being essentially sephirotes of energy or emanation points of energy within the body, they would be considered kind of like stars, because as within, so without, as above, so below, all is contained within you. Your body, your mind, and your soul are themselves their own universe. And of course, there's more than one star. Now for Divas. Corresponds to the god Tia. What you don't know is that nigga who got his arm bit off by Fenris. Alternate forms, that fucking shit. Phonetic value, T, esoteric interpretation. The name, the Sky God. And here's another weird one. The polaric difference of what's the word? God damn it! Of the mythologies of Germanic mythology versus Egyptian mythology, for example. In Egyptian mythology, it was in fact the sky goddess, and the earth was the masculine. And they also had a masculine son. So it seems as though they had a different understanding of all these things. However, when you get into archetypal ideas like this, I do really appreciate the Tibetans, because they had a more like what's the word for this? They had consorts to each god. There was also a corresponding goddess, and so it was as if it is both. It's a matter of which direction you're looking at it from. The T rune embodies the force ruled by the god Asatya. Tyr is the Norse god of law and justice, who governs proceedings at the thing, whatever the thing is, the Germanic General Assembly. We're going to go do a thing today. Make sure you bring your nice shoes. The Tyr force is one of passive regulation. In northern mythology, it is this god who comes closest to a transcendental quality. These characteristics are exemplified by the major Tyr myth, in which the god sacrifices his hand, or active abilities, yes, his sword hand, between the jaws of the Fenris wolf in order to save his fellow Aesir from destruction. Thus, Tivaz is the rune of self-sacrifice and of kings and great leaders of the people. I just saw this video about the Morgan or whatever, and they mentioned a bunch of other Celtic things, and there was this one king, I forget his name. He wasn't part of the Tuatha De Danann, it was another one, and he lost his hand and therefore couldn't be king anymore because he was now imperfect, and then somehow got his hand back later. It was this whole thing. It's interesting to consider. Ice Ear. Ah, right? Yeah, yeah. Dude, that reminds me of a dream I had, man. There were these fucking ice elves, and they... Ah, God, it was weird. Okay. The word Tiva, Tia in Old Norse, is the exact cognate to Sanskrit deus, Greek Zeus, and Latin Jupiter. A threefold mystery is contained in Tivas: justice, war, and a world column. Certain aspects of all three concepts are intimately related in the runic cosmology. Ah, okay. Nice magic. Tivas is principally the force of divine order in the multiverse and especially among mankind, but Tyr is also important as a war god. This is because of the special judicial and spiritual qualities that were imparted to conflict by the ancient Northmen. An Old Norse word sums up this aspect quite well. Vapnandamor, judgment by arms, or war. So that's the word that means war, but its literal translation is judgment by arms. Okay. I get it, okay. Combat was seen as a struggle between numinous forces in conjunction with physical ones. Both of these are considered to be extensions of the same ultimate source. The man, or army, with the most numerous power, which is developed by right and honorable past action, will be favored by Orlog to win the struggle. Tia rules over the administration of this form of justice, so he is invoked for victory and is therefore an important war god. Yes, don't start something you don't intend to finish. Don't start a fight you don't intend to win. The aspect of the world column expressed by the T rune is that of the separator. Am I just being autistic? Separator of heaven and earth. This separation creates a phenomenological quality, and is therefore necessary to multiversal manifestation as we know it. This column maintains world order and protects humanity and the gods from the destruction that would come should the heavens, energy, and earth matter collapse into one another. Tivas is represented by the Irminsul of the Saxons. Figure that fucking shit. This world column is the Axis Mundi and has its heavenly termination in the pole star. I knew Polaris was cool. Alright, grab your screenshots. Ba-doop-ba-doop. The T rune is the mystery of spiritual discipline and faith according to divine law. It is the religious instinct in the individual and society. Tivas facilitates social integration and regulation according to the spiritual code of the Aesir. Justice, a world order, not the new world order, the actual world order. Victory, according to law. Self-sacrifice, spiritual discipline. I'm reminded of this Chinese general. I forget his name, but he was shot in the eye by an arrow, pulled the arrow out, bringing his eye with it, eats his eyeball in front of everybody, says that shit was yummy, and then proceeded to win the battle. Straight badass. Stoltir. Stand straight. Arms planted down and away from the body in the form of the stab. Palms face the ground, although you may also experiment with the palms up. The Stadha was developed as a bind rune of S and T and is popularly known as... Ah, god damn it, I don't even know what just happened there. But anyway, I'm back. So, whatever. Okay. I was so close. Okay. Y'all back? Okay, cool is. Magical workings. Obtaining just victory and success, building spiritual will, develops the power of positive self-sacrifice, not ethnocide, develops the force of faith in magic and religion. Now, faith is very important to do magic in, especially when you combine it with willpower and action. This is what we understand from the strength card. If you look on the tree of life. Now, what else we got? Next, Berkano. Berkano, birch goddess, birch twig. Dude, she's such a twig, man. Birch tree. How do you pronounce that? Berkan, Bjarkin, Runic birch goddess from Bjork. Oh, okay. You ever see a bitch named Bjork? That's what she's talking about, okay. Alternate forms, bunch of B's, phonetic value B. Esoteric interpretation of name, the Newman of the birch as Earth Mother. Ideographic interpretation, breasts of the Earth Mother. Bubes. Commentary. The B rune contains the complex mystery of the Great Mother. In its cosmological aspect, it is the mother of all manifestation and embodies the mysteries of cosmic and human birth and rebirth. Bergana rules over the four pivotal human rites of passage, which will take place at the crucial times of birth, adolescence, marriage, and death. This birch goddess also displays the darker side of the terrible mother ruling over death. In Norse mythology, she is represented by Hel. In the Germania, chapter 4, Tacitus reports on the goddess Nearthus as the Earth Mother. In this cult, the goddess is attended by a priest, and she is drawn throughout the territory in her chariot, spreading her blessings of peace and fertility. And her legs. When the procession... that was mean. When the procession is at an end, Nearthus receives human sacrifice in order to replenish her spent power. The Bergano rune is the container of all becoming and being. It is the unity of the birth, life, death, rebirth cycle through the mystery of the moment. This is the unit of evolution, that moment of being, a single complete cycle of arising being, becoming, passing away to new arisings, from which becoming is built. The phenomenon of chance in nature is described by this rune, because each moment, each of these units of existence has its own uniqueness, although they are all held together by a universal pattern. The arcano is the passive receptor and the conserving protective force. It conceals and protects. The B rune rules over all protective or concealing enclosures such as caves, lodges, and the initiatory earth house. A Yardahus. Earth Mother, birth, life, death cycle, containment, moment. Now, being the concept of moment is rather interesting. I'm going to have to think about that one some more. Stadha. Stand erect with the left arm bent at the elbow, the palm resting on the hip. The left leg is bent at the knee with the heels touching. The left foot is set at a 90-degree angle to the right foot. The elbow and knee form the angles of the B rune. Magical workings. Yes, the part you've all been waiting for. Rebirth in the spirit. Strengthens the power of secrecy. We all got to work on that. Works of concealment and protection. To contain and hold other powers together. Realization of the oneness of the moment as the mother of all things. Bringing ideas to fruition in the creative process. Now for Avaz. The two horses. Or stallion. Used only in cultic contexts and not found in the younger Futhark. Alternate forms. God damn it. Those aren't even similar. God, I fucking hate alternate form concept. That is such malarkey. I'm gonna hammer this shit out. If you see something that's a different motherfucking goddamn rune like that shit, well, it's a different motherfucking goddamn rune. Okay. I'm gonna publish it eventually. Esoteric interpretation of name. The twin gods are heroes in equine aspect. Ideographic interpretation. Two upright poles bound together to symbolize the divine twins. The Bronze Age symbol, that fucking shit, represented these divinities. Also the sign of two horses facing one another. Commentary. Avol represents the power of the twin gods. This power construct is a reflection of a dual form of Germanic kingship. These leaders were often represented mythically as horses. Here we think of Hengist, stallion, and Horsa, horse, the Saxon conquerors of Britain. Also the name of the twin gods of the Veda, the Asvinau, literally means the two horses. The harmonious relationship between the two forces represented in the dual construct is emphasized rather than the defensive and outwardly directed power expressed in the Z rune. All this points to the close relationship between man and horse felt by the Indo-Europeans in general and the Germanic peoples in particular. The horse is a source of numinous knowledge, and horses often were consulted by the ancient Germanic priests in divinatory rites. The Evas is a spiritual quality closely connected to mankind, or manas. In Norse it is said, Mar mans flygja. The horse is a man's fetch. What the fuck's a fetch? The bind rune of manas and whatever those are, which means I am. The E rune facilitates the journey between the worlds of Yggdrasil. The Vidki may literally ride its power through the realms of reality. Evaz is the rune of Sleipnir, Odin's eight-legged steed. Dude, okay. I should put this on my wand. The part of you that goes ahead of you to prepare your path. That's interesting to ponder. Now I missed the first half of that comment. I'll rewatch later and check the live chat replay. This is a rune of trust and loyalty. Oh, a fetch. Okay. That's what it is. Huh. Alright then. This is a rune of trust and loyalty. The spiritual relationship that a horseman develops for his horse is a good illustration of the might of this rune. There is much power to be gained in this secret. Kein Problem, David. Evaz is the combination of two sympathetic yet duly arrayed forces or entities, such as man-horse, horse-chariot, man, filgya, body-soul, that work harmoniously together towards one goal. See the TH rune for the contrasting concept. The E rune is the symbol of the ideal man-woman relationship and thus is the mystery of lawful marriage. So we're beginning to see how the runes work together. You can't, it seems as though you shouldn't anyway, have a rune by itself and expect there to be too much. You need to know what they all mean. Harmonious duality, vehicle of otherworldly journeys, fertility, trust, loyalty, legal marriage. It's legal marriage, Dad's right. Stand straight with both arms slanted, the left pointed upward and the right downward to form the alternate form of the E rune. Fucking alternate forms. Also experiment with the E rune bind stadha, in which two Vidkar, usually male and female, stand facing one another, each in the L rune position, thus forming the E rune. That sounds more interesting. There you go. Get you a girlfriend to do Stoltje in the morning. Magical workings, facilitation of soul travel throughout the world and projection of the soul in Midgard. Realization of fundamental unity of the psychosomatic complex. Imparts trust and loyalty. A source of prophetic wisdom. Projection of magical power. Facilitates swiftness in every regard. Alright, this ought to be the last one. I know we haven't just been going for 10 minutes because the first stream died for some reason, but anyway. Next up, manas. Human or man. Alternate forms, that shit over there. Phonetic value, M. Esoteric interpretation of name, the divine ancestor and sky father. Ideographic interpretation, marriage between heaven and earth. Commentary. Manas is the mystery of the divine, archetypal structure in every individual and in mankind in general. This structure is imparted by the god Heimdall as the progenitor of mankind. This is described in the Rigstula of the Elder Edda. In this poem, it is told how Rigger, or Heimdall, engendered the archetypal members of the three social functions in the world of men, the provider, the warrior, and the priest-king, which reflect the three levels of the divine structure. Heimdall is indeed Odin in one of his many guises, that that of the Allfather. Allfather. Now that's interesting to consider. So is Odin like a triple god? That's another weird, like, inversion process, because he's kind of like Hermes, but he's also kind of like Lucifer, but he's also kind of like the Morrigan. Odin's such a mysterious god. God, there's so much to stack into understanding him. The M rune is the symbol of Heimdall as the genetic link between the gods and men, and as the guardian of Bifrost, or Bifrost. This is the rune that describes the Germanic peoples as being descended from their divine order and defines mankind as the progeny of the gods. That's what I'm saying. God damn it. It is the mystery of humanity and represents the runic structure in the soul of man. Manas is the power of human intelligence, rationality, memory, and tradition. It is the staff of the perfected man, the complete human being. An initiate in one of the many cults of the Elder Faith, Manas is an androgynous archetypal being, and therefore the mystery is one that embodies the power of the androgyny in the psychological sphere of humanity. The M rune stands for the institution of blood brotherhood. So now this is making me think about the Fool card. Divine structure, divine link, intelligence, androgyny, initiate. Stolter. Stand erect with elbows lifted straight up and forearms crossed in front of the face or behind the head. Use the Elder Z rune Stadha, which is used as the younger M stav, the Madir. In both cases, the Stadha will increase the power of the head. Chvel. Chvel. Do you even chvel, bro? Realization of the divine structure in mankind. Increase in intelligence, memory, and mental powers generally. Balancing the poles of personality. Unlocking the Hugauga. Oh, I know about Hugin and Munin. They're thought and memory. They're Odin's birds, but I have never heard the word fetch until today, so I'm gonna have to check that out. The mind's eye, Hugauga. The mind's eye. Huh. Okay, that's interesting. All right, let's wrap it up for now. I know it's a bit of a shorty, but shorties get watched more often. So anyway. Thanks to the two glorious brothers with us today. Auf Wiedersehen, 1488, hail our people, and may Odin's blessings be upon you.